Hello, I'm Barbara Ash, National Director of the Veteran Institute for Procurement, and I would like to welcome and thank you for joining us for today's VIP webinar, Cracking the Code, Learn How to Successfully Engage Large Primes. Today's webinar was developed to help veteran businesses accelerate their growth in the federal marketplace, and that is what VIP is all about, accelerating the success of veteran-owned small business government contractors. And it is working. On average, companies grow 63% 1 year after graduation from the VIP program, and VIP Grow graduates report a 357% growth just 2 years after graduation. VIP offers 3 different curriculums to give veteran-owned small businesses the tools they need to win government contracts. Programs are held in the Washington, D.C. area, just 11 miles from the White House. Participants receive hands-on, market-based instruction that helps establish best business practices for government contractors. And the program is offered at no cost. We currently offer VIP Start for veteran-owned small businesses looking to become procurement ready, VIP Grow for later stage companies already selling to the federal government and looking to scale, and VIP International, which accelerates veteran small business success in the global marketplace. This webinar series is made possible thanks to the generous support of SBA and Lockheed Martin Corporation. The slides and audio from today's webinar will be made available on the VIP website at nationalvip.org. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's panelists. Pat Desanto is the moderator of today's panel. Pat is the Corporate Supplier Diversity Program Manager for Lockheed Martin Corporation. In this role, Pat is responsible for the management of the Department of Defense Comprehensive Subcontracting Plan. Our next panelist is Michael Billings, a 2016 VIP Grow graduate and the President and CEO of KDev Technology, located in Fort Worth, Texas. And then we have panelist Liz Caron, a 2019 VIP Grow graduate and Vice President at Ascent Technologies located in Monument, Colorado. And our final panelist is Greg Whaley, a 2015 VIP Grow graduate and the President of Academy Solutions Group located in Columbia, Maryland. Please type your questions in. Because we have allowed time at the end of the program to answer as many questions as we can, and any that we don't get to, we'll be sure to respond to you via email. And now, it is my pleasure to turn over today's webinar to Pat and our panelists.
Thank you so much, Barbara, and welcome everyone. I appreciate the chance to speak with you today. What I'm going to do is first talk briefly about Lockheed Martin, then give you my perspective on small businesses and how you can best engage with the company. Once I'm done, I'm gonna open it up to the other panelists who will share their experience in engaging with Lockheed Martin and ultimately winning contracts with the company. So to get started, this is our corporate vision: being the global leader in supporting our customers' missions, strengthening security, and advancing scientific discovery, whether it's protecting citizens or advancing the boundaries of science. These missions are some of the most important and challenging in the world. We bring an unwavering commitment to helping our customers succeed, and it's that sense of purpose and opportunity to make a difference in the world that drives us every day. Our corporate values, go to the next slide, please. Lockheed Martin's success depends on our commitment to integrity. Our core values, doing what's right, respecting others, and performing with excellence, are fundamental to who we are and what we do. At Lockheed Martin, we believe that doing what's right is more than just obeying laws and regulations. So next slide. Lockheed Martin is all about people. We have almost 100,000 employees, half of which are folks that are a lot smarter than me, scientists and engineers. We have over 400 facilities across the US, and we're also operating in over 58 countries with over 7,000 employees in those countries. In terms of our customers, in 2018, our total U.S. government sales were over $37 billion. Our largest customer is the Department of Defense with sales of over $32 billion. And the remaining portion of our customer base is with NASA, intelligence communities, and about 70 international governments. So just to give you a taste of our customer mix. Our business structure, and this is something important to know when approaching Lockheed Martin regarding a potential opportunity. We are made up of 4 business areas, and we have supplier diversity professionals across the corporation that are strategically assigned to report up through the procurement function to support their business area along with corporate initiatives. So just to quickly go from top to bottom, we have aeronautics, the world leader in air power protection, including combat, air mobility, special mission and reconnaissance aircraft, along with the design and development of advanced systems. Rotary and Mission Systems provides surface, air, and undersea applications for U.S. military and international customers. Missiles and Fire Control is a recognized designer, developer, and manufacturer of precision engagement aerospace and defense systems for the U.S. and allied militaries. And last but not least, space, the leading system integrator of space products and services for military, civil, and commercial applications. So our supply chain. We have almost 16,000 active suppliers that we're working with over 54% of those suppliers being small businesses across a diverse portfolio of industry representation from everything from manufacturers all the way to distributors. Also wanted to mention that last year, we awarded almost $700 million in contracts to 715 veteran-owned small businesses and $378 million to 212 service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. So the opportunity is there. This next slide, I just wanted to highlight what we look for when we are seeking new suppliers to meet our requirements. And the reason I wanted to really highlight this, I'm not going to go through the entire list. It includes things like past performance with customers, experience with Lockheed Martin or other primes, certain quality and security clearances. But I did want to point out that socioeconomic status is last on this list. So the reason that's important is when you are presenting your company to Lockheed Martin or to any large contractor, you want to ensure that it's important what your socioeconomic status is, but you want to ensure that you're covering all of these other important items first, because these are the qualities that we are looking for. And then of course, the most important question is, what problem do you solve? So when engaging with folks from large companies that you do want to work with, start with and build upon your sweet spot. Define what you do really well. What are you going to do to drive Lockheed Martin's interest? Are you coming in with a lower cost product or service? Is there a new technology that you offer that you think might benefit us in our programs? Tell us where you see the synergy, and then provide relevant examples. What was your best contract? What is the niche that you provide? Who is your customer? And like I said, what do you do best? At the end of the day, the challenge for our program managers is really time and money. So the question that I very often will ask suppliers that are marketing themselves to us is, in addition to any new technologies, are you going to be able to save me time and money? So then once a match is made, and you do receive an RFQ, please ensure that you're responsive. And if you choose not to compete on something, you submit a no bid response. Please make sure you read and understand every element of the request, including the terms and conditions and the quality and delivery requirements. If you don't fully understand, what's in that RFQ, please ask for clarification, and in some cases, ask for an extension if necessary. And absolutely, please ensure that you're always returning calls and emails as promptly as you can. If you are able to secure a contract, please, make sure you're performing, meeting your commitments, ensuring that your costs, that you're quoting the full costs, 100% quality in everything you do, and delivery on time, every time. It's that performance that's going to lead to more opportunities with Lockheed Martin. And then finally, just in summary for myself, just some of the key steps to marketing to Lockheed Martin. Make sure that you do your homework and identify a target area where you feel that your business best fits. Number 2, complete the supplier marketing portal. So we have a portal that we use to find small businesses to meet requirements. Getting your profile set up in that system is key, as it is the tool we use to share information across the enterprise and also track our interactions with suppliers. If the information is not in there, it is extremely difficult to present your capabilities to anyone internally. Number 3, subscribe to the Immediate Needs Bulletin Board. This is a fantastic resource that I've seen many success stories with brand new companies who haven't worked with the corporation before, but they subscribe to that Immediate Needs Bulletin Board and they're able to find opportunities that they qualify for and win business. Bullet number 4, meet influencers. Your key influencers with Lockheed Martin are the small business liaison officers. We are the gatekeepers for small businesses that are looking to position themselves as business partners with Lockheed Martin. The best way to contact us is via the supplier communications email box, which can be found at the link shown in the presentation, or by meeting us at the hundreds of outreach events we attend each year. The list of these events is also shown on our website, so please try to get to an event in your area. For those companies that are dealing with advanced technologies, be sure to subscribe to our SPIR STTR distribution. And then number 6, finally, bring opportunities to us. If you feel that there is a market out there and you feel that we would be a good partner, a good subcontractor to you in pursuing that market, please always bring opportunities to us via that supplier communications email inbox that I mentioned previously. All right, so that's it for me. I did want to close with small business strong. We are fully committed to providing maximum practical opportunities and visibility to small businesses. And that's, like I said, that's what the SBLO, that's what our role is. So that being said, Barb, I think we're going to pass it on to one of the companies who has gone through this process and have them share their success story.
Thank you so much, Pat, and that was great and great guidance on how to approach Lockheed and be successful. I want to now turn it over to Michael Billings. He is the President and CEO of KDev Technology. Thank you, Michael.
Okay, thanks, Barbara. Yes, I am the President and CEO of KDev Technology. We've actually been doing business with Lockheed Martin as a subcontractor since 2010. We basically provide hardware, software, resale services, as well as staffing services. So I just kind of highlighted some of the NAICS codes that we provided to Lockheed Martin for the projects that we have worked on. And primarily, we have supported one main project with Lockheed Martin, which is the Missile Defense Agency program. And we primarily have been doing that in combination with RMS in various locations. But to date, we've had approximately 33 purchase orders that we fill for Lockheed Martin. Those are on various hardware and software requirements for the program, as well as we've also done some integration work with Lockheed Martin as well. So just kind of recapping the story, we started out in 2010, basically talking to the diversity contacts, at Lockheed Martin, supplier events, and just making sure, that we were at those events, we were communicating with the contacts and just letting them know, what our services were, what we had performed on in the past, whether it was commercial, state, federal, local, just kind of keeping them up to date. And then we actually had reached out to the Missile Defense Agency at the time, and they had let us know, that Lockheed Martin was one of their clients. So at that point, we just kind of started, working with the diversity supplier and also, just making sure that, our services matched up with what Lockheed was looking for at the time. So, we did our research and we figured out, what they were buying, positioned ourselves, with the vendor that Lockheed Martin was looking to purchase from. And that enabled us, to get on the program and start providing services. So go ahead to the next slide. And one of the main ways we were able to do that was just, by providing quality. And you'll probably hear quality throughout this presentation. Pat just went over it. I'm sure some of the other suppliers will go through it as well. But, you just always want to make sure that you're delivering, a quality product, whether, that's for the government, your commercial clients, whoever you're working with. One of the key things, that we learned, with the quality was to, always follow up, on different programs, just to make sure that, the end client and the contracting officer are satisfied. We've actually had opportunities come to us in the past where, Lockheed was not satisfied with the incumbent supplier, so they wanted to, of course, give us an opportunity to bid on it. So just being ready, to respond, having the quality there, whether you respond or not, just make yourself available. And then number two that I want to touch on was relationships. You continuously need to build relationships with Lockheed Martin, the agency, and also, if you deal with any other, suppliers or vendors, you just need to constantly make sure that you're, keeping those relationships and improving those relationships. And I just have like a little note here that talks about the incumbent. Just remember, if you are the incumbent, you're always going to have competition. And of course, you could be the incumbent's competition that actually comes in and, fulfills a project for Lockheed Martin. So, expectations. This is one that, we had to, basically get used to based on setting expectations for our vendors as well as expectations, for growth, I guess. As Lockheed Martin would set expectations for us, based off of, purchase order timing, timing of projects and so forth. I guess I say that to just say, you have to be in it for the long haul. Basically, you have to think of Lockheed Martin as your teammate, you're a member of a team. So, you have to basically adjust to the expectations of Lockheed Martin. And then secondly, just make sure that you have a team that realizes that, Lockheed Martin is your team as well. And then I talk about projects here. And always, go research, what projects Lockheed Martin is currently performing on, whether it's products or services. There's different ways to go about that. Of course, you can start, by talking to the, agency, OSNIBU, putting you in contact with different, contracting officers as well. But you could also, just simply go to FPDS, do a keyword search on Lockheed Martin, your NAICS code, that year or previous year, and you can kind of get an idea of what contracts are out there and how you might position yourself, with teaming with Lockheed Martin. And then lastly, I just say leverage the technology. Once you are invited as a subcontractor with Lockheed Martin, you will have access to an internal system that gives you, bid compliance, response, purchase order management, and invoicing capability. So just making sure that, your team is aware of that application and how to use that application is going to go a long way in the end. Next slide. And then I actually pulled this from Lockheed Martin supplier page. I just kind of wanted to talk through, some of the points here. Basically, when you're wanting to do business with Lockheed Martin, number one, just make sure you do your homework. That's going to help you out a lot. Like I said, referring to fpds.gov, knowing, where you're positioned, where your product or service is positioned to help Lockheed Martin will go a long way when you're talking to diversity supplier contacts and so forth. Submit your company's information in the supplier portal, which, Pat just spoke about. Make sure you keep it up to date. And of course, whatever research that you've done previously, use that to position yourself for the next opportunities that become available. And then also you can monitor or subscribe to the immediate needs bulletin, which Pat spoke about. And then number 4, meet influencers at outreach events. I recommend, go to as many Lockheed Martin events as you can. Any targeted agencies that you're looking to do business with, go to those. Definitely go to those vendor and product events. Just, basically make yourself known because, once you make yourself known, Lockheed Martin and the vendors and the agencies know that you offer a quality product. They're going to be more willing to work with you. And then it talks about the SBIR directory. That's more for, focused firms that are, doing, more innovative, product or services offerings. And then lastly, bring partnerships opportunities to Lockheed Martin through the business development. So that's a key point there. I guess, when approaching Lockheed Martin, you want to be ready to, state how you can instantly help Lockheed Martin achieve its goals. So, whether you do that by, talking to the agencies and figuring out, what's critical to the agencies, or talking to vendors, figuring out, what the next innovative solution is going to be for Lockheed Martin. You want to stay ahead of that so that when you are talking to Lockheed Martin diversity suppliers, contracting officers, you have that information and it just makes you look more valuable as a team. Basically, your firm plus Lockheed Martin equals team. And that's pretty much all I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, for those key insights, and congratulations on your continued growth, not only with Lockheed, but in government contracting. Next, I am very pleased to introduce Liz Carrion, who is the Vice President at Ascent Technologies. Liz, we look forward to hearing what your thoughts are.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm just going to pretty much reiterate everything that Pat and Michael have said. I got my schmooze shoes up there. This was probably the most hardest thing for me because I was kind of thrown into this. And one of our staff members is the one who actually told me he was used the word schmooze, and he says, you got to get out there. And so that's why I do have a pair of red shoes, and we call them my schmooze shoes. And so you really do just get out there. It might be the hardest thing, but you'll need to investigate, associate, communicate, and really it's about repetition over and over. You're going to have to get maybe more than one pair of shoes. Next slide. So again, like I said, this is going to be kind of repeating what you've already heard. But that investigating, it's all about, the 5 W's, who, what, where, when, why, and how. And it's two-way street. Really know what you and your company do and what you excel at. And that's when you investigate what Lockheed Martin does, you'll be able to more clearly see where that fit is. Because when you stay general, it doesn't always come across. And just a quick story, one time I told somebody that we worked just off the cuff with satellites. It was just a casual conversation. And a few weeks later, they want us to go work on their satellite dish at home. And it was like totally different satellite that we work on. And so that's why it's maybe you need to be a little bit, really refine and know what you do so that when you present it to Lockheed, there won't be any, mix-ups or, you've gone to the wrong area. The other part is I follow, and it's good to follow as much social media, their website, and check out every portion of their website. I don't know what part to, it's a service area. So we're into information technology. Well, that information technology for us, we are highly specialized within GPS. And that's where most of our teaming with Lockheed Martin is. But when you're talking software testing and integration, you can take that experience into other areas. And so you need to really follow where you think you can take your service into other areas of Lockheed Martin and expand that way. So this was crucial for me, reading their job ads. I don't know if anyone's ever done that, but for me, I had to learn the lingo. And I know they're hiring their own engineers that do what we do. So I looked to see what they wanted. And so it was really a good help for me to like, hey, I got what you're looking for because I saw what you're looking for. So I don't know if anybody's ever done that, but that I found very helpful to go in there, find the areas we wanted to work in, and look what they were already looking for to hire for themselves. We also had some other experiences with Lockheed Martin, but that's really crucial there. Go on with, I hate to reiterate and kind of go down this path again, but you do need to meet people, find out who you need to meet. Most companies, it's hard to get to know who their small business persons are. So, this is a great opportunity, this webinar, going to every event possible, if you can do that, that you can get to, because it's facial recognition. You will see some of the same people because I try to go to as many as I can. And after a while, they know that you're still in business and you're still asking. And that's how we were able to expand with Lockheed, because somebody was like, you can't help here, but I've got somebody I can put you in touch with. That all came about through events. When you associate, you have, here's a quick story. I was at an event we have here in Colorado, and I just happened to sit behind somebody who put their notebook down with the Lockheed Martin logo all over it. And so when the event was over, I went up and I started speaking. We were totally in two different areas of work, but they knew who to put me in touch with. And that was crucial. That was just huge to go out there and find that somebody was willing to make that connection for me and make that introduction. So never think that you've talked to the wrong person, because you never know who knows who or who is willing to help. The whole social media, share what you know from Lockheed Martin, or, I follow them on LinkedIn and other social medias, because you will find other people that you will be able to communicate with a lot of times during that sharing, and you'll recognize a name from another event. And, before you know it, you have started a relationship, because that those relationships will really be helpful in the future. Next slide. So I always start off, when I meet somebody new or when I've gotten a new connection, shoot them an email right away, keep it short and sweet. And if you can, just go on ahead and call them, let them know that that email is coming, maybe with your statement of capabilities. I always share a statement of capabilities with every email that I've sent out. I try to keep it updated. If anything new, add on to it, and change it up. They're probably tired of reading the same thing, and the last thing you want them to do is just delete it. So give them something to look at. Also, I don't know, we keep in touch with as many people that we have worked with. And I'm always asking for their reviews of our work, because then I can share that with those people that I'm communicating with at Lockheed Martin. They want to know what new accomplishments you've accomplished, what new work you have found, and the reviews that other people are giving. So when I do this, I'm not talking to just a subcontract manager. I'm reaching out to subcontract managers, team leads, program managers, anybody and everybody that we have worked with or that has worked with our staff, so that I can get feedback, and then I share that. So your staff is very important. You need to let them have a good relationship, encourage that good relationship with other members at Lockheed who they work with. A lot of times they're going to hear something that they know, hey, you know what, our company can do that. And if they're not feeling that they can come back to you or share that information with you, or then, there could be a whole missed opportunity. So we've actually expanded through Lockheed Martin in that regard, because they found out that, hey, you know what, I can actually do this over there as well. And before you know it, you've managed to find your way into another part of Lockheed. Also, I cannot tell you how many times that people have never come to me after they know that we work with Lockheed to say, is there any other way we can help you maybe? Or, I know Pat talked about, going and bringing your opportunities to Lockheed to see if they could support you. Well, small businesses, a lot of times, can fulfill part of Lockheed's goal or help them, but they can't meet all the goals. But, 2 or 3 small businesses together can approach Lockheed and say, together we can do this. And so, you can forge, work with Lockheed sometimes going about it through a teamwork together with other small businesses. So, again, it's just about that repetition of going out there, investigating, associating, and going back and communicating with everything positive that you have. So I think that wraps it up.
That's great, Liz. I really appreciate your comments, your smooth shoes and insights and stories. I think it was very, very helpful and impactful. Our next panelist is Greg Whaley, and he is the president of Academy Solutions Group, located in Columbia, Maryland. Greg, would love to hear your thoughts on how to crack the code.
Thank you. I appreciate it. My experiences may be a little bit different than a couple of the companies in that I was actually working at a large defense contracting firm and managed a portfolio of contracts for them, one which included a subcontract to Lockheed Martin. And when I got the itch to start the business, I actually approached Lockheed Martin to see if they would be interested in my coming to work with them as a subcontractor again. So I had the advantage of the people on the receiving end knowing me, knowing my capabilities, and they were willing to take a lark on me starting out as a one-person company supporting them on one of their contracts. We did that 16 years ago, and we have been with them or an offshoot of Lockheed Martin ever since. We started with one of their OCI organizations that was spun off as Vencor, and you may now know as Perspecta. So between Perspecta and Lockheed Martin, we've been working continuously with them and owe our existence to them from the beginning 16 years ago. Next slide. Now, it's probably worth noting that none of the 4 presenters knew or saw the others' slides when they were being developed. So they were all developed in isolation of each other without knowledge of what the others' slides looked at. But what I'm struck by here at the end is the consistency of message. And I've come to realize or appreciate the consistency of message is probably not coincidental. It is that consistency of message that probably led to all 3 of our companies being successful in working with Lockheed Martin. So I take those as proof points of what has been successful or unsuccessful. And so what we tried to do was distill it down from a small business perspective of the do's and don'ts. As has been stated already, find Lockheed personnel that you can develop a trust relationship with that have some modicum of influence within the Lockheed company. I would echo the sentiment that's been expressed is understand the opportunity, understand the customer, understand your intimacy with that customer, because when you go in and talk to folks there, you want to go in and present yourself as knowing what the opportunity is required, how you can help with that opportunity, how you've had a similar positive impact on similar contracts, and a demonstrated understanding and intimacy with the customer. And along those same lines, I try not to oversell our capabilities because folks will quickly figure out if you've oversold yourself. So I have found that it's best to be honest, forthright, dependable, and provide good people, because at the end of the day, they are interested in providing the best possible goods and services they can to the government. Next slide, please. And it's been echoed earlier. Don't think Lockheed wants to work with you simply due to your socioeconomic status. Don't approach Lockheed with a vague and unspecific desire to support them in some kind of capacity on some undetermined contract out there. And then I think it's equally important to be viewed as a good partner. Be easy to work with them. Don't go in demanding positions and work share and a lot of changes to the subcontract, or be late invoicing, or not be capable of staffing. And then once you are in a contract, take ownership of your people and your presence and your capability there. You have got to be accountable to Lockheed for all of that. Don't think you can go in, provide a service or provide people or provide a product and then wash your hands of it. If there are any difficulties, they're going to expect you to deal with those issues yourself. And you've got to be prepared to do so in a manner that helps them achieve their customer's purpose. So that's really all I had from my end. And I would just echo, the message has been very consistent across the presentations, unbeknownst to any of us. And I think that consistency of message provides some kind of a roadmap for doing business with Lockheed, at least for 3 companies that have been successful doing it. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much, Greg, and thank you for sharing that in some inside information there. You're absolutely right. We did not share anybody's slides. Wanted to have it be very organic, and I think it is proof in case that there are best practices and they work. And I would bet that these are the same best practices that would work if you were to approach any large prime. And Pat, I'm sure you can echo that. It is not necessarily just unique to Lockheed Martin, some of these best practices and methods that were shared today. I'm going to, we have a little bit of time here, and happy to read some of the questions. And if there are any others, please type them in and we'll get to as many as we can before the 3 o'clock hour here Eastern time. Jump in, panelist, in terms of answering it. This one, I think I'll go ahead and just get this out of the way, because a few folks said, can we get the slides? Will it be posted? Absolutely. The audio and slides will be made available shortly after this program on the VIP website at nationalvip.org. And any questions we don't get to, we'll make sure that we get those out to everyone. This question here, I think goes right to you, Pat, because it says they're interested in knowing when Lockheed Martin needs passenger transportation. Is that through supplier department as well, if we are providing services and not supplies?
It's, Unfortunately, Barb, I don't think I have the answer to that question.
You stumped the chump. Okay, well, I bet we could figure that out and get back out. Huh? Did we get that back out?
It's definitely something that I can, that I will take after the webinar and see if I can get an answer for them.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you so much. Another question here is probably to you too as well, Pat. Should they use their capability statements that they use for the government, the same one for Lockheed Martin as well? Or anybody can answer that, really. I mean, what's your experience been?
So I guess I have 2 perspectives on it. Answer number 1 is yes, absolutely. I feel that having a good capability statement is critical. I think that as Liz mentioned, ensuring that you present that capability statement whenever you do have an opportunity to do so. Also ensuring that that capability statement is included in your supplier profile in our supplier marketing database. Those are all very important things that each of these companies can do. However, that being said, if they are going to an event and they know that the Lockheed Martin representative is going to be there and they are interested in pursuing a specific opportunity specific to Lockheed Martin, I think there's nothing wrong with going ahead and customizing that capability statement so that it's more meaningful to the recipient.
That's great. That's great. Michael, Liz, Greg, any thoughts on that? What do you do? What do you all do? We'll start with Michael.
Yeah, Barb. One thing I do, and I do this with Lockheed or any of the primes or partners that I'm going to work with, is I do go through the FPDS.gov site. So that gives me a lot of valuable information on who the prime is, what next code they are working in, and what the project is that they were awarded. So that gives me a little bit, a background to work with, and how I want to present myself when I present, to a prime.
That's good insight. That's great. Liz, you have any thoughts on what you do that you'd share?
I do just keep it updated with anything new that we've done that is relevant to what Lockheed Martin is doing. And this is something I also go on ahead and a lot of people will put what's been said about them and references. And I have included that in our statement of capabilities. The only thing is I always ask permission. I don't just put what they've said about us unless they've given me permission to put it up on our capabilities. They do know that it's going up and that I will quote them. But that's it. I just think that way they know if they want to speak to somebody. So if it's going like Pat was saying, specific, if I was tailoring it towards Lockheed, they will know that all those quotes or those references came from Lockheed Martin personnel, and then I can give them who gave us those reviews. So but I do tailor it in that regard, because I want them to be able to speak with each other. There's not going to be, your best references are going to be other people at Lockheed Martin that you've already worked with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great. Greg, you have any thoughts on?
Yeah, we certainly have a capability briefing that we can give government or new clients. However, once we have a working relationship like we've had with Lockheed for as long as we have, I try to approach them with a more targeted capability, and it's usually in relation to a specific contract or opportunity. Most customers will put out an RFI or a market survey that asks for specific capabilities and skills that they're looking for. And oftentimes I will try to tailor a discussion with folks at Lockheed around that specific acquisition and specifically tailor it to the things that we know that the government has asked of a company like Lockheed. So we try to tailor it down to the opportunity and make it as relevant to the discussion as we can.
That's great. That's great. Another question here, and Pat, this probably goes to you because they're wondering if they could find, if there is a list anywhere of your Lockheed's primes that you list of your, I guess really it's more the list of your vendors, sub-vendors.
A list of
Your
all
suppliers.
16,000?
Is there a list anywhere? Yeah.
I don't believe there is a list like that that exists, or at least that is out there for public consumption. However, as many of my fellow panelists have said, going through FPDS, I believe that you might be able to find some of that information.
Do some reconnaissance there. That's great.
Yep.
Another question that came up is and this comes up a lot, it's a chicken and the egg. How are security clearances handled for companies that do not currently have any security clearances?
So the response to that one can be rather complex. I will tell you that, at least from what I know about it, security clearances are typically awarded to companies that have already won a contract with Lockheed Martin in terms of a sponsorship of said security clearance. But there are some very good details relative to that topic on our website.
Oh, okay, I appreciate that.
Let me hop in there for just a minute and tell you that there are two ways to get a facility clearance for a company. Either directly through the government, and they will do a DD 254 to generate the facility clearance for you, or on a classified contract that requires it through a prime contractor such as a Lockheed. And both methods work, but the only way to get it is to be on a contract that requires it, and the prime will sponsor you for that, or VFR direct to the government, who is capable of sponsoring it for you as well.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. Great.
Barbara, can I just add one thing?
Sure.
Maybe I didn't understand the question that well. If they're speaking about getting their company cleared, a facility clearance, then I believe that was Greg, then he's correct. But if you're looking at maybe having a contract with Lockheed Martin and you already have cleared personnel, but your company doesn't have a clearance, then sometimes Lockheed Martin can carry that clearance for them.
Okay.
So it's going to have to be, they're going to have to check on how many people will be needing to work a cleared contract.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and Barbara, this is Mike. I can confirm that too. We've had a situation similar to that, where we can have other companies carry the clearance, so that is doable.
Okay, great. Thank you. Here's another question. Pat, specifically, when a small business, what specifically will help a small business stand out when reaching out to Lockheed Martin and other than past performance in the initial reach out? So besides past performance, what will stand out?
Sure. I'd say that what stands out most to me personally are those companies who really have done their homework in terms of the types of opportunities that Lockheed Martin is currently pursuing, the types of needs that the specific agencies have, and how their company can add value as a Lockheed Martin business partner in pursuit of those opportunities. It's the very targeted approach, knowing where they fit, knowing which business area they feel they fit best with, and understanding what the customer needs are and how they can best help Lockheed Martin compete to win that work.
That's great. Well, we got through most of the questions, and any others that come through, we'll certainly get that out and get the response back. I want to thank Pat, Liz, Michael, and Gary for an excellent panel presentation and discussion today. I know I learned, I'm constantly learning, and I know a lot of key insights were shared today, and I appreciate you taking the time and to put this together in a thoughtful response. I know this will help many. Cracking the code, and I think you can use this to help you in many pursuits. And I want to thank our participants for joining us and attending the webinar today, and to SBA and Lockheed Martin for making this webinar possible. I would like to ask those that participated today, take a moment to complete a very short survey that will be sent to you immediately following this program. Your feedback is very important to us. I will remind you that this entire webinar, along with audio and the PowerPoints, will be up on our website shortly for for you to share with others in your organization. And I just want to share with the panel, we're getting thumbs up and kudos. Great, thank you, great information. So I don't know if you can hear them all clapping and giving you high fives. I want to thank you and wish you all continued success in 2020. Make it a great day, make it a great year. Thank you, everyone.